Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I am Karla Dennis. I'm the CEO of Karla Dennis Associates, Inc. We are a full-service tax consultancy and advisory firm serving individuals and small business owners, everything from accounting to tax resolution. Today, I thought I would share 6 things with you to help protect you from the IRS, help keep your cash in your pocket, and help you do it legally, because we never want to do anything that's illegal, right? We only want to follow the code, follow the law, but the issue that we run into as taxpayers, no one really explains to us the code and the law. So I want you to walk away with 6 things that you didn't know before you arrived today, and if I do that, I would have felt like I've done my job. So number 1, I want you to know that any time that the IRS contacts you and you get any letter, any communication where you need to respond back to the IRS, you need to be fully aware of how to engage with them. Everyone thinks, let me just call them, let me just try to reason with them. That's not what you want to do. You want to be able to talk to them, but you want to talk to them from a level of intelligence, from a level of knowledge. So the first thing you want to do is request a record of accounts. Why do you want to request a record of accounts? Because a record of accounts will tell you exactly what IRS is billing you for, charging you for. It's like getting a statement from Citibank or getting a statement from your bank, from a charge company, a vendor. You want that record of accounts. That's a very imperative document to have in your hands. That's the first thing you want to have. And when you get the record of accounts, you're literally looking to see what dates that they charged you, how they charge you, did they charge you on time, did they charge you the appropriate amount of interest. You want to figure that out because IRS is not always right. I would say the majority of the time their documentation is incorrect. So you want to make certain that you're looking at that. We make the assumption because they're Internal Revenue Service that they're correct. So do know that they do make errors, and there's humans behind that, right? And there's machines that are pretty outdated behind that, and on and on and on. So you want to request your record of accounts. Number 2, you want to request transcripts. What are transcripts? You can get transcripts of your income documents. You can get transcripts of your tax payments. You can get transcripts of your tax return. Transcripts are very important because if you are being assessed, charged, or sent a statement to pay any additional amount of tax, you want to know why, right? Why are they charging me that extra amount? One of the biggest cases I ever had where this person had gone to 2 other tax people to get a situation resolved, IRS was charging him some additional dollars. It was a lot of money. It was like over $100,000. He was in an audit. IRS hit him back with over $100,000. No one did the basic upfront work and pulled the transcripts. When I pulled the transcripts, his income transcripts, I realized that this radiologist who worked for multiple hospitals had been 1099 twice by one of his biggest hospitals. Something so simple that no one checked that box, right? So we gotta always make sure that we do our basic stuff before we're trying to do major things. So there's a hierarchy as the way we approach situations. So get your transcripts, that's very important. In the event that you feel like IRS is not being fair, that they're not working with you, or you really don't know what to do, just like you can call 911, you can file Form 911, fax that in to the IRS with your social security number. It doesn't go to IRS, excuse me, it goes to Taxpayer Advocate. You fax that form into Taxpayer Advocate, and they will get somebody to help you to work with you against IRS. Taxpayer Advocate is an independent agency that our tax dollars pay for. So you already have representation out there, but most people don't know about it.
Wow.
That's really important for you guys to know that you can utilize Form 911 and you can utilize Taxpayer Advocate, an independent agency, to work with you. You also, number 4, want to be aware of the Taxpayer's Bill of Rights, Publication 1. I'm sure all of us at some level are aware of the fact that if we're pulled over or we're arrested, what happens? We hear our Miranda rights, right? But has anybody told you about the taxpayer Bill of Rights? That's very important. You have the right to representation. You have the right to remain silent. I suggest you do, unless you know what you're really talking about. And you probably don't know what you're really talking about, right? Unless you do this on a regular basis. So you want to be aware of Taxpayer Bill of Rights. That's publication 1. You want to be aware of that. Very important. Also, you also want to know that the taxpayer advocate can stop any garnishments, liens, levies, wages. Once that form goes into taxpayer advocate, they have to stop all collections. All collections until which time they've worked with the IRS. So that's a tool you can use in the event that something is happening or you allowed something to get out of control. I get clients coming to me all the time, wages being garnished. IRS loves to garnish wages the day after Thanksgiving when there's like a holiday in there because you're locked down, right? Most people are closed. Most people that are going to help you are just on vacation. So if you know this and you run into somebody that gets into that situation, you have them fax that form 911 and taxpayer advocate literally put help. If you don't know anything else, put help. I need my money back, whatever the case may be, and within 48 hours you will get a resolution. Okay, that's important for you to know. The fifth thing I want you to know, in the event that someone does get their wages garnished or their bank account levy are frozen, that money is sitting there for 21 days. It's not gone. It sits there for 21 days. So we have 21 days to get that levy release, that lien release, or that garnishment lifted. People go into a panic, oh my God, they took my money out of my bank account. No, the bank moved your money over into a trust account, but it's held there for 21 days. And we can get that money typically released in the event that we know kind of what's going on. Always be honest with the person that's working with you, because the last thing we want to know as representatives that IRS knows something that you didn't tell us, right? So you want to always tell the person that's representing you exactly what's going on, good, bad, the ugly. Very important. Okay. Now, the last item I want to tell you about, number 6, is probably the most powerful tool that I will give you. And this is the only code section that I ever want you to commit to memory is code section 162A. That's an IRS code section, 162A. And the key with code section 162A is that is the code section that allows you to take all of your deductions on your tax return. That's the code section that says that if you are in the pursuit of income, you have the right to take any expense that is ordinary and necessary. That is a very important code section. The reason why that is because who can define what's ordinary and necessary? Who defines that?
We do.
Who does?
We do.
Okay, so I want to show of hands who defines ordinary and necessary. Is it the IRS or is it the taxpayer?
Taxpayer.
Taxpayer? You're right, it's the taxpayer. It's not the IRS, right? But most people think it's the IRS. So how would we define ordinary and necessary? How will we know if our expense is ordinary and if it's necessary? Are office supplies ordinary?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Are office supplies ordinary to a pilot?
No.
Oh.
Sure they are.
Oh, now. Look at that. Could be. Sure they are. Maybe. Right? Are office supplies necessary to a pilot?
Yes.
Really? So are they in their little cockpit writing down stuff?
They use different
Post-it notes all over.
And this is what I love about tax law, because there's always the big debate. So ordinary and necessary depends. And that's the crux of the matter. It depends on what you deem as the taxpayer is what's ordinary and necessary. So I will give you some examples of what's ordinary and necessary. My son Carlton was engaged on Friday. I'm going to be a mother-in-law. I'm going to have a daughter. Yay! Just to put that out there. And what we did for that engagement is that's going to be an entire write-off for us. How do we do that? It's because we loop that into our marketing. We loop that into a marketing strategy for our company, right? So we videoed the whole thing, and he has a bazillion followers on Instagram, and they follow him. And so we weaved it in part of the marketing. Like, he started to tell the story and what needs to happen. And he's gotten so many more followers as a result of that. Was that ordinary? Probably not. Was it necessary? Absolutely, because we're going to get business out of it.
Yeah.
And I can argue that all day long under Code Section 162A. So this is why it's so important that you think about what could be considered ordinary and what can be considered necessary. I had a client that had a yacht, a real estate agent, that IRS disallowed her yacht 3 years. She owed back $272,000. I decided it was necessary for her because she sold some beachfront property. Maybe other realtors use a minivan, a SUV, but she used a yacht to take her clients out. Why do you get to decide IRS was ordinary and necessary for her? She decided how to brand her business. You don't get to decide. And oh, by the way, she makes money, and oh, by the way, this is who she markets to. So that Code Section 162A is very powerful. Understanding how to link it to the pursuit of income is the key that will unlock the door to a plethora of write-offs. So if you want your write-offs to be like this cup of water here, very small, or if you want your write-offs to be a sea of deductions, you have to understand Code Section 162. I am going to close it up with this. I am Karla Dennis. I eat and sleep tax law. This is what I love to do. I love nothing more than to help individuals reduce their tax bill within the law, within the code. But the key is to know the law and know the code. That's the key. I'm always reading tax law. That's what I enjoy more than anything. A good novel, tax code. I'm going to read tax code. That's what I love. So I will open it up for any questions that you guys may have.
What were you talking about with pilot stationery?
Oh, well, that was just, maybe he uses stationery. Maybe he makes notes later on, right? Maybe he writes down where he's going.
On an e-pad.
Yeah, he could do a lot of different things. The key to that was it could or could not be depending on how we link it to the pursuit of income. It has to be linked to the pursuit of income, any deduction.
Flying the departure properly is very good about maintaining your income.
Yes, yes.
I'm gonna go on a hunting trip next year to Montana, and they asked me to give a talk to local dentists about TMJ. So how much of the trip can I deduct?
99%.
That's your answer. That's going to really depend. So when you're going on that trip to talk on TMJ, and that's what you do, right, on a regular basis, and just so happen while you're on the trip, you're going to do some hunting. Or are you going hunting and just so happen you're going to speak?
Well, that's the truth.
Right? So it's just how you present things to IRS, right? Whenever I travel, I'm always taking a tax class. Whenever I travel, I am going to find a tax class in that geographical location. Why is that? Because I'm always traveling, I'm always taking tax classes. I'm also an avid real estate investor, so I'm gonna look at real estate. My kids are involved in my real estate business, so I'm always looking at real estate, right? So I'm gonna get flyers, I'm gonna go look at open houses, and that's what I do anyway. I mean, honestly, I used to drive my kids crazy. Like, if I saw an open house, I'm like, stop the car! We'd get out and we go look. So if you can link something to the pursuit, the key word, pursuit of income. Didn't say make income, it says the pursuit of. Languaging in tax code is really important, and it's just really key that we understand that. Right? All right. Anything else? All right. It's always my pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.